The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Monday, March 14th, 2016 are currently trading with gold at $1,243.06 an ounce, silver $15.49 an ounce, Texas crude $38.50 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 412 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1971, the Rolling Stones leave England for France to escape taxes, essentially becoming British tax exiles. Their experience inspired the title of their famous album, Exile on Main Street. According to a 2006 article in the Daily Mail, the Rolling Stones have paid just 1.6% tax on their earnings of £242 million over the last 20 years. In recent news, after shutting down Austin for several hours and quite possibly causing the worst traffic ever, Barack Obama told the Texas Tribune on Friday at the South by Southwest Interactive Festival that, quote, the folks who are governing the good state of Texas aren't interested in having more people participate. Texas is typically a low turnout state, however, did have turnouts rise to 2.8 million on the Republican side and 1.4 million on the Democratic side, the largest primary showing since 2008. Though in reality, we are slightly only ahead of Louisiana in primary turnout, giving us some perspective if by adding all the numbers you realize that nearly 4 out of every 5 adults in Texas voted nobody and refused to cast a ballot. A medicine derived from the marijuana plant has succeeded in reducing epileptic seizures in its first major clinical trial. The developer GW Pharmaceuticals, a London-based company, said that their drug Epidiolex achieved the goal of the trial, which was reducing convulsive seizures when compared with a placebo in patients with Dravet syndrome, a rare form of epilepsy. If Epidiolex receives regulatory approval, it would be the first authorized prescription drug in the United States, extracted purely from marijuana. Dr. Oren Davinsky of the Comprehensive Epilepsy Center at New York University Langone Medical Center said that the results of this Epidiolex pivotal trial are important and exciting as they represent the first placebo-controlled evidence to support the safety and efficacy of pharmaceutical cannabidiol. The Lone Star Lowdown is currently looking to fill some ad space. If you have a product or a service you'd like to advertise with us, feel free to give me a call at 210-363-2257. This is Rick Rohde with your Lowdown for March 14th, 2016.
Logos Radio Network presents The Truth Exposed Radio Show every Wednesday 6 to 8 p.m., bringing to you breakdowns on current events, history, and philosophy with your host, Rick Rohde, Marshall Soul, and Cuddy Rowe. Welcome and thank you for tuning in.
We are live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. It is March 16th, 2016. Boy, is it crazy out there. I'm one of the co-hosts, Cuddy Rowe.
Marshall Soul. Rick Rohde.
Boy, how about the political atmosphere these days? How?
Politics and stage theatrics with the media, yeah.
A bunch of ticks in a bucket.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Just
sir.
waiting to jump out and be leeching on somebody.
Yeah, went from voting for class president to voting for class clown.
For real.
Real quick. Got a lot to talk about. I mean, sure, we're going to briefly talk about this election cycle, which really isn't news at all. Got a couple of articles, maybe headlines to cover, some interesting things. But more importantly, we got lined up, wrapping up property rights and what are some of the extensions of that and the universal ethic of libertarianism, of anarchy. So definitely stay tuned for that. You'll have the weaponry in hand for slaying those dragon statists left and right. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I use it every day. It works well.
Oh, yeah. And you know what else works well is definitely checking out logosradionetwork.com and partaking in the lovely drawing we got going on. Put yourself in the drawing for a chance to get a pretty sweet gun giveaway.
Oh, yeah. First place prize. You've got the Spike Skull lower receiver. which is, words can't describe it. You just need to go to the website and
a piece of art.
Yeah, it's a piece of art, definitely. Whoever gets that is going to have one of the baddest looking AR-15s on the planet, bro.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, you get that second prize Taurus Curve, a sleek pistol meant for concealed carry. And all this being brought to you by the General Texas Gun Works and, of course, Logos Radio Network. $25.
$25 gets you in.
$25 gets you in.
That's it. $25. Put your name in the drawing, and you're allowed to apparently put it in as much as you like. So.
And I believe the special offer is still going. If you purchase Eddie Craig's traffic seminar before March 17th, you receive 10 entries into this gun drawing.
Wow, that's a win-win-win-win-win.
Yeah, and that's really pretty much a little bit over 24 hours. We're under the 48-hour mark. We're under the 36-hour mark. We're getting there.
Yep, before. You got till midnight. At least for that part.
Yeah, we got it going. March 17th, so yeah, we got a day here left, ladies and gentlemen. And just a reminder, this is to keep Logos transmitting constantly, 24/7. All the great lineup of shows. Definitely check out the great lineup of shows and schedules, hosts at logosradionetwork.com. And it's just information, bringing the truth, slaying dragons, and doing it because we have a passion for our compatriots. We have a passion for our fellow human beings, and we just have a passion for everyone reaching fulfillment in their life.
Yeah,
what a beautiful concept.
Exactly. We want people to be able to keep what they earn and decide what they do with their money, with their life, with their business.
I know. I love this taxation is theft meme that's going around Facebook right now. There's all these different types of memes popping up to insert, the taxation is theft.
Oh yeah, truth. I saw that thread going.
Various things popping up. And they'll use an attractive lady as such, to get somebody's attention to look at it. It's just classic.
Yeah. It's going around. Those trends are always got to find ways to break through the shell of conditioning that people have been so eager to wrap themselves into.
Yeah, we'll use the marketing tactics themselves to invoke truth.
I do it all the time. You got to put something eye-catching or whatever,
something to get you make it stop and think, and then you get the follow-up is the truth.
I've seen the new trend now, the meme with the sexy ladies on there, and then it says taxation is theft or whatever else.
Yeah, like that. I just want a woman that could just wake up next to me and tell me that taxation is theft.
Yeah. It's so cool because we're literally in the land of idiocracy, and the only way to get to the dunderheads, the ones that are dead asleep, is just.
You got to bring it down to a simple level so you can.
Caveman, ooga booga.
Entice. Not so much. No, you don't want to insult anybody's intelligence.
No. But it's only. But memes that simple, it is kind of. That's really. That's. Back in the day, in the 1800s or something, that would have been insulting. They'd have been like, "Oh, you got to use this kind of tactic to get me to read something. You're crazy."
Exactly. It was advertising was very limited on what they could reveal, and they just had to slowly degrade the culture where they can allow more and more things to take place.
Well, yeah, they know the sex sells and all that stuff, and the primal aspects, and
Well, yeah, it's in the nature.
Yeah, in the nature, exactly.
It's your instincts.
Yep.
The chemicals in your body.
Yeah, they know exactly how to play on that. So, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how a pack of Marlboro Reds are going to get you a hot girlfriend, but I don't see the equation on the two.
No, they'll get you some wrinkles in your face.
Yeah, it really goes to show that even in the market situation, there are charlatans out there, right? In politics, you're guaranteed charlatans. In the free market, there's a possibility. There's a possibility for it, and so you have to always be on the watch out. You always have to be on the lookout. And this is the lovely thing about Consumer Reports and reputation, and just your repertoire, your history, what you've done, what you're doing. So this election that's going on, it looks like it's pretty much settled. It looks like Colonel Sanders is out of the question.
Yeah, all the teenagers that were going to vote, they went on spring break.
Yeah, or they very coldly found out that their votes just simply don't matter.
They got that cool tattoo though.
Yeah, right.
Did you see that little tattoo? The hair and the glasses.
The hair and the glasses. The ominous. It's like were they like predating his ghostly appearance?
It reminded me like they're trying to bite like the Ron Paul movement, because people were getting the revolution with the love in there, tattooed, and I've seen quite a few of those, and it just kind of reminded me like, but y'all are misguided. Like it's just sad. I don't know.
False hopes.
Who's the British gentleman over there? I say gentleman loosely.
Piers Morgan?
But the guy that took the Revolution logo, the Ron Paul Revolution logo, and flipped it for his for his cause.
Nuh-uh.
Nah.
The,
Who? Yeah, you probably
pretty
got
boy actor.
Russell Brand.
Russell, yeah,
Russell Brand.
Brand.
Did he really?
The flavor, yeah.
He took it. Yeah, and he
definitely took it. And he said he made it himself, interestingly enough. So definitely check that out. And of course, those, the commie, enlightened ones are always in the spotlight, but quickly fade away into nothingness because what they regurgitate and what they espouse are fanciful, poetic lies.
Yeah.
And that's about it. So it's really unfortunate.
Scary. It's coming down to Hillary and Trump, probably.
That's basically the team up.
Hillary and Hillary.
Yeah.
One's a ringer.
Republicans got trumped. Yet again. I mean, what they gave us McCain.
Yeah.
And they gave us Romney care. They gave us McCain tonight, you know.
We know the false.
I know they haven't really been putting out any real candidates, and they've been shunning away other people that were valid into libertarian parties, which they don't get as much attention.
After that, we had 4 Bushes, or 4 or 5 Bushes.
Well, I mean, if I would say Bush took over when Reagan got shot. The Bush team took over when Reagan got shot.
Well, they're saying they're not going to let Trump win anyway, so we'll see.
Who says that?
The left or whatever, the Obama.
Oh well, Black Lives Matter, right? Black Lives Matter is threatening apparently riots. And
well, they're already they're following through with that. They're already.
You'll have the Raza, all the left wing.
They're teaming up. Have you seen it?
Radicalized, racialized.
Have you seen them teaming up?
La Raza movements. Definitely that receive all those Fast and Furious weaponry that happened to get lost along the way. With the cartels. To destabilize regions, and then
I've actually seen those movements come together, which
Can it possibly be that we're seeing that it's been set up from before, a destabilization, if you will?
Exactly.
Of America.
Yeah, it's the exact blueprint of everything George Soros has done all across the world.
It's just playing history. You influx immigrants into an area that's not used to the culture and the other.
Wait. Who's influxing immigrants?
Well, like the Roman Empire. Whenever the Roman Empire fell, that was a part of the many aspects of its collapse, as well as many other great nations. They conquered areas and they brought in the immigrants from those areas, or they subjugated them, and eventually the cultures clashed, as well as the expanding military presence and economics that came into play. Of course, the money fell.
Well, they've got multiple tactics or whatever that they use, and we've seen it all before. I mean, a whole bunch of. I mean, you go down the list of things that. Color revolutions or whatever, false revolutions that George Soros has funded.
That's what I was really going to focus on and bring up is that political revolutions tend to be violent and tend to be lawless, and tend to lead to nothingness. We've done a breakdown of the French Revolution, and really, we haven't gone into the Bolshevik and the American revolutions into too much detail. But when you look at the nefarious forces behind these revolutions and some of the ideologies pushed by these revolutions in the long run, what's been the result, what's been the fruit of such revolutions.
Bloodshed.
We were probably better under the monarchs. As far as the rule of law went,
it even devoured the creators of it. The people who were initially behind it. They all got devoured. Everyone got devoured by their own revolution. Yeah, the revolution killed them.
America was one of the few cases that actually the people that started the revolution and founded it and had the idea actually survived afterwards to see it through somewhat.
Yeah.
They managed to maintain power long enough in order to be declared a legitimate state. In the end, that's what a state is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the monopoly of force, and by we don't use the term monopoly loosely here. If once you've outcompeted all other foes, all other challengers to that piece of land, you are the monopoly of force. No one else can literally use equal to or more force than you have because everyone's annihilated. It's just simple warfare, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's what the state's based upon. We all like to think this lovely concept of the social contract and the implied social contract of sovereign states and the implied consent of the people. We all feel very comfortable in these concepts and terms, but in the end, what it is, what's right before our eyes, what we fail to grasp and see every day is that this system, this political system is force, ladies and gentlemen. And at what points is it okay to use force? For what? For school? For a sandwich? For healthcare?
Yep.
So we're definitely coming on a break. We're going to keep breaking down some of the election stuff and just get into some philosophy. So stay tuned.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Am I all right? Yeah, I'm all right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio right here on the Logos Radio Network. Call-in lines are open. Shout out that number, Cuddy Rowe.
512-646-1984. That is emphasis on 1984.
1984 makes it simple.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what's the topic at hand, Rick? Do we want to get into some of the
Yeah, we really should get into the philosophical, because the second we answer, we wrap up property rights, really we're going to see what this whole political charade is all about. What the real motivation, what the real operandi modus behind it all possibly is.
So one of the reasons, though, right, we want to explain property rights is because human rights don't exist without property rights.
Very true. Very true. We're not ghostly beings. We're not, right? I mean, we're not the undead over here.
And property rights extends from land to the most minute little object that you can own and possess that you worked for, that is yours.
Well, right. And foundationally starts with land, because rewind whatever it is you're using, the glass you're drinking out of, the food you're eating, the clothes you got on your back, the cell phone in your pocket, the house you live in, everything derives from raw land.
Yeah, someone
either
had to
grown
transform.
on land, or the land itself is cultivated.
Yeah, all this stuff we're using right now to
it came from somebody's property.
Yeah,
it was someone else's property before it came my property.
Yeah, somebody transformed it into these things.
So in order, yeah, exactly. So of course, statists will probably run away from this conversation altogether. Middle of the road statists, people that vote, they don't want to discuss what property rights are. Usually, hardcore ideologues like ourselves. Not communists. Hold
on, wait.
Capitalists on the other side of the extreme polar shift. But though we do believe in voluntary communism, which we allow for it as long as it's communal and voluntary and
as long as it's not forced,
fraternal, truly fraternal.
You can do that. Just don't make me do that.
Yeah, we don't have to agree with it.
It's not very.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't object to you doing it with yourself and other people.
Yeah, you can have your socialist utopia if you want.
Yeah, exactly. But really,
I'll watch from over here.
As the debate wages on between property rights, as once you understand economics, once you understand that economics is essentially the transfer of resources. Now, these resources could be anything from time, energy, to physical resources, as we pointed out, which stem all from land. So that's what the exchange of resources. So you decide to do something over something else. You decide to go for a jog instead of watching a video. You made an economic choice, or at least a calculated praxeological choice.
Exactly. There was a reason.
Right. You had your reasons in only a limited amount of time, and you can only achieve a certain amount of things. So you went with that. So the reason we want to get into property rights so much is because in the end, that is the big debate about politics. That is the essence of politics. Politics is the fatal tendency, right? We have a fatal tendency within us to want to live off the expense of other people's labor. And let's further explain this. Can we just go around picking the natural land as it is and just living off of it?
What do you mean?
That's very hard. I mean, unless you're in the Garden of Eden where every plant is luscious and giving
you may have
fruit,
to cultivate areas.
You're going to have to probably put some work in it.
If you kill off all the livestock on that area, if you went and ate all the rabbits, then there's not going to be any more rabbits. So you got to let some live.
You're going to have to be one of those survivalists who knows what little plants on the ground you can just eat everywhere. There's a way, but that's just crazy.
But not like there was back. I mean, for the most part, we need to actually raw materials aren't good for us in the sense where they're not useful. I mean, your door isn't just a raw slab of tree bark.
Oh, no.
Your door is a finely manufactured, precisely made, slab of wood.
Yeah.
Involves saws and sanding and a whole bunch of other array of tools.
Yeah, you got to build a saw to.
So to have all these things, so in order to have property of any kind, even personal property, what communists or socialists or collectivists would call personal property, which they totally agree with, your clothes, your house, what you're using.
That's just because they don't want someone taking 1/100th of their T-shirt or 1/1000th.
Right.
They know they can't be consistent all the way.
Well, they have to agree with some form of property, right?
Yeah.
But see, by agreeing with that little itsy bitsy part of property right, if you say that I at least have the shirt on my back and the food I'm about to munch on my plate, then you have to go back to the origin of those things. Even if you're allowed a salvage line for, worth of a scarce, a handout line when there's scarcity and everything.
Even a soup line?
Yeah, soup line amount of goods. Even commies would agree that you have a right to at least a soup line amount of goods. But those goods come from land.
Oh yeah.
So somebody's labor.
And someone's labor. So following the logical deductive process.
Everything's free, Rick.
In reverse.
We got slaves now.
Yeah, exactly.
In reverse, following that deductive process in reverse, we realize that there has to be someone that owns the land. Right, yep, and the means of production. And if those things are given to the collective, to be it the state or a giant union, then do you own what you have on your back?
Well, if you stay consistent in logic, then no. The way they see it, the communists and socialists, if they were to stay consistent, yeah, then no.
And that's the other side of the coin that people misinterpret. The Bernie supporters misinterpret. Sure, we may get free school and we may get free healthcare and all this.
Well, what's the quality of that?
But what's the quality of that?
It's so good.
Do you have a choice in it? Do you have a choice in it?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. I mean,
when there's competition, creates opportunity for others to achieve and for there to be balance in it, so that you don't get subject to one type of education and everybody it's uniform because it could go wrong.
It would just have to. All you have to do is take over the American Education Board.
Hey, teachers!
Or if they already had, those created
leave those kids alone.
Right. But if you centralize it, it's like supposing that you centralize power in order to keep everything just and safe.
No, you could.
All you would have to do is just take over that one centralized entity.
Yeah, exactly.
Take over the FDA, buy out all the officials at the FDA, and your drug and your food product can get approved.
You can't take over every.
That's how we got in the mess we're in, Rick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what.
We see it with activist groups, is all they have to do is put in a head, and then they control the whole group. They install
when they put personalities instead of principle.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We've seen it. I mean, I see it all the time, and that's what they've done with Black Lives Matter. I mean, we saw it back in the Occupy days, and it's the same thing with Black Lives Matter.
The brands out there, the different brands.
Yeah. So they just sometimes there's legitimate beefs, and then and it starts off as a legitimate movement, and then they just subvert it. They take it over. And that's the same thing. As long as the importance of having clearly defined principles that you're willing to stand for. Mm-hmm. This is another fallacy of government. Government inherent in politics, right? And we're talking about the election and everything. Politics inherently leads to a lack of regard for principles because you're willing to compromise and for the individual, the individual's rights,
just to get to get a certain individual in power who can possibly slightly make your lot a little bit better through political means. You're willing to compromise on your political principles in order to do so.
Ethics go out the window when they're going to get a raise, or whatever, if they vote for this person.
That or they vote in the aspect of, we just can't let that other person get in, so we have to vote for this person.
Right, that's the two kinds, right? Someone who wants to get something out of it,
and lesser of two evils is still evil.
Right, and not to
trying to, vote the lesser of two,
Right, not to be cliche, it's still evil.
Yeah.
Lesser of two evils is still evil, so. Yeah.
I'm not responsible for evil.
Right. There were some statistics showing that a third of the Republican Party voters were going to switch libertarian. I think they'd done a survey.
Well, and not only that, but when you look at the numbers of actual people that are partaking in the primaries and all these caucuses and all these hula prep rallies, it's a significantly small portion of even the voting base. I mean, people aren't really super excited, if you will, about the choices at hand.
It is just a pageant. It's the Kennel Club all over again. And they couldn't even get pretty dogs up there for us to look at or to make any sense. The selection's bad, if you remember the Westminster Kennel Club.
No, I don't recall that one.
Yeah, well, it always came on TV. In
Westminster?
I guess.
That's an English school, isn't it?
I guess so.
Yeah. I think old school Protestant or something of the sort.
Possibly.
Man, back when people were actually protesting something, right?
Protestari.
Yeah, pro.
Hey, if we get a Republican in, maybe the Democrats will start protesting stuff again.
Yeah, maybe.
Against war.
They'll start rioting, all right. The Black Lives Matter have sworn for it, so we are coming on break, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely stay tuned. We keep getting into this principle of private property rights. So
say that a few times fast.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., you can name your child pretty much anything you want, but creative naming and weird spelling won't fly in other parts of the world. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back in just a moment with some surprising laws about baby names.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Is it a girl or a boy? In Denmark and Germany, you should be able to tell by the baby's name. It's the law. For example, the name Matti is verboten in Germany because it could cause gender confusion. Several countries won't allow names considered harmful to a child's self-image. The names Adolf Hitler and Satan are banned in New Zealand, which might be understandable. But fans of the king of rock and roll might wonder why the name Elvis has been rejected in Sweden. What's not surprising is that Chinese baby naming laws reflect the country's control agenda. Parents must give newborns names that can be easily scanned by a computer for the country's national ID card program. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio here on the Logos Radio Network. And do have the lines open, 512-646-1984. Rick Rhodey here.
Cuddy Rowe.
Marshall Soul.
We're getting into wrapping up property rights, at least some of the concepts we discussed last week, trying to find the holes and the fallacies that people try to point out within our logic. And
yeah, like how do you actually acquire, where's the line drawn, and how to actually acquire property?
Very important things. Yeah, very important things. Because as we mentioned before, you can't just fence off just a big plot of land and automatically call that yours.
No, you get it by force or by consent. That's pretty much how it goes down. You either someone gives it to you, you trade something, you give them valuable money, or some people go out there and take it from people, like back in the day.
Oh yeah, but I mean that's illegitimate. We're talking about legitimate.
If you haven't done anything to it, is what we're saying is if it's just land sitting there and it's just a mountain,
stuff, yeah, just
rocks and trees, and
you haven't transformed.
Well, you're there, and no one else is, so.
Well, technically, right? Until someone wants to come and say,
I'm gonna go stake out a little area and homestead it.
So when it comes down to that point, ladies and gentlemen, you have to have some sort of philosophical ground for the ownership of land, because either way you believe in the ownership of land, whether you believe it should be privately owned, like we're trying to find some consistent way of figuring out, or you believe the government should just own huge plots of land. Either way, you believe it should be owned by somebody.
Then you got to look out for eminent domain.
Well, yeah, but hold on.
So,
but let's exactly. I mean, where what happens if the government on the flip side of the coin, if government owns land, then what?
Well, who's government? A group of people in power at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And so
what they don't actually own it. They are representing a body that supposedly owns it. Like
but can that body just do whatever they want on that piece of land?
Well, doesn't a body have to have a body?
Well, no. I mean, they do take the land and they do whatever they want with it.
I mean, good case in point would be BLM, right? I mean,
yeah.
Who exactly does the BLM represent?
Yeah, the BLM is not a person.
Nope. Unless you want to go like a corporate person.
There you go.
A group of
that's when you get into legalese. Yeah.
Or a group of persons, right? Everybody that's part of the actual BLM agency.
Those people are just contracted as representatives for such agencies. So
yeah, but they're working. I mean, the agency can't fulfill its own reality. I mean,
a legal fiction can't own property. A fiction can't own property. That's why DC was only allowed to have the area that they were given. The square mile, or however.
How are they allowed? And if they weren't supposed to be allowed?
That's the point. That's the point we're trying to make here is that government, right, is either it's just a group of individuals in government. That's all government is. To say that you are government is a fallacy, right? Because you're not in government. But if you're being paid for by government, if you're on government payroll, or if you support government, or if you somehow receive benefits from government in the sense of direct pay, I mean, I'm not talking about secondary benefits like you happen to drive on government roads or whatever, fly on a plane and they got the FAA or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
Give me a break. I mean, those are monopolies you're pretty much forced to use.
Oh, yeah. Even
they've already taken your money anyway, so you have a right to a service, though it may be a cruddy and, lacking and low, below par service, but.
Yeah, those roads are horrible out there.
Yeah, depending on the state you're in.
The city you're in, wherever you're at. How your municipalities maintain them.
And in big cities, they end up turning them over to private entities who
Anyway,
after because they can't even. Yeah, exactly. After they've already been paid for probably 3 or 4 times to where the money they stole from everybody they could have used to do what the private sector
is already doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But now we still have this bureaucratic governmental
agency. But they got away with your money, and then they got away with all that money they got, and then you know.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, let's not get confused here. Just because you start privatizing things doesn't mean that it's all of a sudden going to be better. When you have privatization, while we still have government choosing who gets that privatization,
picking those the contracts. Sometimes you're picking the lowest bid on the contract.
That's when you got like fascism, product. Right? I mean, you've got government colluding with business, and then that would be the scenario like if the politician or the person within government had a friend who owned a business and he made sure that he got that contract for the city's job. Trump's company is going to be the one to build the wall.
I wonder who's going to build all the walls and rebuild all the infrastructure.
Trump's company said he's going to build the wall.
Needs to be desperately rebuilt.
The Mexican wall of China.
Oh yeah, no doubt. The
Great Wall of Mexico.
If the United States, if he gets it done, but.
But yeah, that's just an example. They pick the winners, they pick the losers, they pick who gets it. I mean, I know people who work in other companies of construction, and they donated to campaigns. The company did, and now they've got government jobs. Like, even though the guy who they gave money to for the campaign didn't win, they backed Rick Perry a while back, and they've got all these government jobs now through the roof. Like, it's just.
Oh yeah, the infamous what is it? The private-public partnerships that are going around. Public areas that have been paid for by tax dollars are now being handed over to private corporations to maintain and coordinate with the government.
If you put me as Donald Trump right now, what I'm thinking if I win president is like winning the business government collusion lottery. You get to, man, I'm a businessman. I'm going to show you how to ball out of control. Watch this.
Yeah. Like, Keynesianism on steroids over here coming up.
Show you how to do this. Yeah. You think Clintons and Obama and stuff came up, right? Their wealth went up after becoming president.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But they were political. I mean, well, you got the Arbusto company, the oil company with the Bushes, a little bit of here and there.
Oh, yeah.
The Nazi gold funneling, right?
Zapata,
with Prescott.
Don't even let me, I'm not excluding them.
I mean, they got some.
You go far back, all the way back. I mean.
Right. But you're right. There are a lot of political families that have strictly just been political. That's it. In other words, they're coming in, making connections with the cronies. It's not a crony coming in to begin with.
The crony's already there.
Yeah, we've been crony homies for way back, right?
Yeah, this is the intermarriage of cronyism. Yeah. On both sides now of the aisle.
Yeah, I scratched your back before.
From the lobbyist
when I was on the other side of the fence, and now I'm on this side and you on that side.
The revolving door, right, of regulatory agencies.
We see that with, the Federal Reserve and Goldman Sachs and all the rest of these, monopolies on things.
Mm-hmm. Banking regulators, food regulators.
Yep, Monsanto and the FDA. Yeah. Man, we'd be here all day.
And then, of course, the banking execs getting into the U.S. Treasury or getting into positions at the Federal Reserve Board. Like you touched on, we said Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, exactly.
Chase, Manhattan.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, J.P. Morgan, whatever, all those guys. Lehman Brothers, Wachovia.
All the
money goes down
the money changers, man. It's like Wells Fargo, it's those money changers.
Yeah, they feed they're the fish that get fed.
Well, it's not even money anymore. They've already gone along, changed the money a long time ago.
Monopoly money is worth more, right?
Yeah, it's just, I don't even know what you call that. It's like, we've already changed your money from gold to nothing, and now you just changing the nothing from nothing to nothing. Like,
all the money is some lights on the screen.
Yeah.
Leave it up to them to turn nothing into nothing or nothing.
And then tax you for it.
Yeah, wow.
And then you got to pay it back with nothing. And you got to get a loan to pay that back with nothing. And there's interest on that.
Well, since they made you pay back nothing with nothing, then they created, that's like 0 times 0.
Unless we're using Common Core math, that's still 0.
Yeah,
but I'm sure Common Core could find a way to make something else out of 0.
If I could say it was something and I could explain it,
It's infinity, man.
I don't know. I had y'all going the other day.
2 zeros this way, you put them on their side and connect them. Sideways 8, bro. Infinity. See, by that logic, hey, Common Core, baby. It's like nihilism, right? It's whatever. It's nothing. It's whatever I want it to be.
Don't give them any ideas.
There's no objective truth.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The complete abandonment.
Teaching kids that.
The complete abandonment of any kind of reality, of any kind of truth.
Tie a millstone around your neck.
Of any kind of objectivism. Yeah, it's a sad reality. Ouch. So what are you going to build your property rights on? Are you going to build it on people transforming nature into stuff that they can use, or are you going to build it on the edicts of kings and the planting of flags on shorelines and the declaration of despots? I mean, come on now, folks. Where are you going to go with this? There's a lot of reading to do on this, of course.
They could even fake a picture and then be like, look, I put my flag there. The moon. I own it. We own it.
Do they own the moon? I mean, they still don't own it, right? Just because you pluck a flag on it. Ridiculous. We are coming on a break, so stay tuned.
Easy.
We're back live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. Phone lines are open, 512-646-1984.
Call in with your opinions, any kind of news topics you want to hear.
Whatever's clever. And, don't forget about the gun giveaway
do not forget about the drawing. $25 gets you in on for first prize.
Skull.
Lower
Spikes.
receiver.
Lower receiver.
It's getting on the 24-hour mark over here.
Yeah, you better
pretty
get
soon.
in where you better get in where you fit in.
Slightly under.
It's time to get it.
For sure.
Get it while the getting is good.
28 hours here, 29 hours.
I wonder how many people bought the seminars to get that 10.
I don't
tickets in
know,
there.
but I'm thinking about getting one right quick, right fast.
No, you haven't got the seminar yet, have you? Oh yeah, but you've been looking over my shoulder a few times
I
now
have
when
been.
I'm on it.
I've been cheating, peeking.
There's just a lot of good information. There are good documents and.
I like the
visual
audio
books.
class too. I heard a little bit of
Well,
that.
there's the audio and the video presentation.
It's cool. Like when you're driving around, you can pop that in. You know,
you definitely need your attention on it because he goes over a good bit of information. And of course, has all the documentation in there for you to check out for yourself as well.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. So we got to get into this property rights, guys. Come on now.
You don't
how do we wrap
You
this
don't
up?
have human rights if you don't have property rights. Or
You don't have any rights.
Yeah, you don't.
Right? I mean, we talked about the rights that had to do with your personal body. No need to go reiterate all over all those again. But rights when it comes to your property, extended property, I mean that covers a lot of things. I mean, when you consider right to travel, right? I mean, what are you going to travel on? A buggy, an ox, a horse, a car, a jet, a helicopter,
your feet,
teleporter,
your own feet.
That little helicopter,
Walking.
that one-man helicopter thing they came out with. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
They got flying cars now too. They just not enough people accommodating, but
yeah. So you got to move. You got to move on your feet. You have to. I mean, there's no ifs, ands about it. And people want to move a grander distance than can be achieved on foot. So it's led them to the ingenuity of building traveling transportation devices.
Hence the wheel and animals to take us places.
Trains.
Hence the wheel and the rotor, right?
Planes,
and the rotor.
Automobiles.
I mean, yeah. So we do have a caller here. I do believe. Oh wow. I do believe this may be Chris Terry here from South Carolina. Chris, is that you?
Yes, sir.
How's it going, Chris?
Hey, bro. How you been?
Oh, crazy, but good. You know, I'm fighting a good fight every day and constantly drowning in a sea of socialism.
Yes, sir. We're in that boat, or not in that boat, right? We're drowning outside.
We're in a boat in Texas, but there's a hole in it, and like it's starting to flood a little bit.
Yeah, taking on water.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I've in the last few days, even I've had a lot of people like anarcho-syndicalists and communist types and whatnot come to me and start propagandizing and I'm having interactions that are kind of conflictory, and also people that I do try to talk to on the socialist end are the ones that are so emotional that they actually can't even have a conversation with you.
No, there's a hole in their bucket, pretty much.
Yeah, I have the same issues too as well. I mean, it just resorts to name calling, and they don't even want to get down and have a real conversation.
Yeah, because most of the ones that I came across that would actually sit down and go over discuss these topics, they start to realize that method isn't going to work. You know, having it for free, having government pay for it is not going to work out.
And you know what's interesting? Some of the ones I've come across, I've noticed they're a lot younger, and I go to and scope them out, and I notice it's not on their feed. They're not like pushing the message, and they're learning it in school. It's like something that's been taught in school.
Oh, really? You're telling me the biggest sector of government, education, government unionized teachers and administrators are pushing for Bernie Sanders, the openly socialist?
Guaranteed. Free everything. We already have free school, so the free school is going to tell you more free stuff. Yeah,
and we're going to pay the teachers better, right?
And we're going to have slaves and garbage, like.
Yeah. So, Chris, what's the atmosphere over there? As far I'm sure it's loaded up with Trump supporters. I mean,
well, you do get that, but from my angle, just where I work and live, and the people that are around this area of the city, it's mainly socialist, Bernie type supporters, and then a few Hillary rights or hilariouses.
Yeah,
I really realize that eventually there's hardly any capitalists or people that understand, liberty, individuality, objectivism, or any of that. I have one customer named William who's objectivist, and he's a Randian type, and he's a libertarian. But he's the only person I can talk to about any of that can understand economic principles of any kind.
Is he curious if he's a minarchist Randian, or if he's gone full-fledged Rothbard with it?
Well, he's probably in the middle of that spectrum. Like he's
okay.
Probably hasn't. I don't think he's actually gone to the point of like questioning all legitimacies of some type of authority, but. Of course, it would be the ultimate, the ultimate minarchist rant would be just only defense of personal rights, and that's it. Like
the Bastiat approach, the classical liberal approach.
Right, and so far that's the only person I've met that can even get as close to what we're talking about here. And considering that I see a lot of people, it just goes to show that the indoctrination has gone deep because, you know, as you and I both know from our past experience in being raised in public schools, or maybe not even public, but just, you know, the modern atmosphere, you know, we had a lot of leftist ideas until we actually sat down and thought about it.
Now, Chris, I don't mean to nitpick and be some people would say I'm just getting into semantics and arguing semantics, but what do you mean? I'm not asking for like a breakdown of what it should be, but what do you mean by people of the left or leftist ideologies?
Well, I just mean as far as the common, you know, left-right paradigm, in the sense that the left, in a sense, doesn't respect property. You know, when we're talking about property.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know what's funny about that is you're right on that point there, Chris. When it comes here to the American left, right. People that
on this, but the old school right and left is very different. If we're talking about, you know, classical liberalism.
Yeah, right.
Polar opposites.
Yeah, and that's what's, you know, the American-centric form of politics has really distorted, I think, the political arena in the United States. Since people don't have a grasp of political philosophy.
Yeah, liberalism had to be destroyed
as a whole. It was long destroyed. Yeah, I mean, back when Mises
destroyed.
Back when Mises destroyed socialism, you know, I mean,
just like all the other movements and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, they destroyed liberalism for sure. I mean, the world wars did that. The centralization of the banks did that. The centralization of power in government did that. And I think it's dangerous, you know. And I see, I get what you're saying. I mean, if you want to continue on with that, with your point there, Chris, I'm sorry for nitpicking that, but a lot of times I have to.
It's like when you
explain that to the listener.
Yeah,
it really is. It really is
because left, right, and the real left, right.
The real left, right.
And today's left, right.
Because the real left, right would say that left is for decentralization. Frédéric Bastiat, just mentioning him, who was a classical liberal, sat on the left of the assembly, of the French Assembly. So he was a leftist when it comes to Republican form of parliamentarian, congressional type of actions. And in the United States, our document is a leftist document. I mean, the freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of
press, you know,
all these different things, right? Right to jury in a trial, freedom of religion.
Yeah, not to be searched.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Liberty of individuals to pursue their own gains.
Exactly.
Very much
individual liberty.
Very much leftist ideologies, very much liberal ideologies. Back when the king decided what you should be used for, what brick you should fit into the wall, or what gear you should be in the grand mechanism of the state, the liberals were saying no. Individuals have the right to self-determine their own goals and their own dreams and to pursue their own aspirations,
and the right to property.
You can't pursue your aspirations without property.
No, you cannot.
Right. If property is an extension of the self, and whatever you do with your mind, your labor, and whatever creativity you have, and the combination thereof, then that's yours. And if someone's going to come and say that you can't have it, you know, if you haven't done anything wrong, how can they say that you have a right to yourself? That, you know,
that and what about whenever they tax it? You have to pay a tax to possess your property. Is it really your property then?
Yeah, no, of course not.
No, it's rent. It's rent from the state.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever it is, you know, if you're having to pay a tax on it, that's not your property.
Yeah.
If only communists would team up with capitalists against that landlord, the most illegitimate landlord of them all.
Let's lynch the landlord.
The state.
Yeah.
The government.
No, we need to use the government to take all the land so no one has any land.
Yeah, talk about some etymology right there, right? Landlord. Right? Who are the lords of
Lord Rothschild.
Yeah, Lord Monckton. Lord Monckton.
Yeah. He's anointed.
Well, you have to think, just because there is disparity and inequality because of people and advantages, disadvantages, and whatnot, only they would say, well, let's just put it in the hands of this little small group and give everything to them. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Make it worse.
They'll divvy it all up to the rest of us correctly.
Yeah.
Rationally.
Yeah.
Schools, and then it's going to cost so much that no one can afford to eat, and no one will be making anything. Everyone will go to school and drain all the rest of the coffer.
Yeah, exactly. But equality, one thing is for sure, though. Equality will reign. Equality of oppression. Equality of slavery.
Yeah.
Equality of poverty.
Yeah, we'll all be broke slaves.
Well, and plus, it's never really equal. Somebody's going to subject another person to a different standard.
Except for government.
Got to have your unionized employees, right? Government employees.
You got to have the proletariat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're the proletariat, though. They're more like the leechitariat.
Yeah.
And if you got any other points you want to bring up, Chris, we'll hold you over to the other side, but we are coming on a break here shortly.
Yeah, we are coming on a break. But yeah, let's keep talking about property. Yeah, it is our hour break, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to keep talking about property and really getting into the ethic that surrounds all these rights and realities. So definitely stay tuned. We appreciate it.
Logos Radio Network presents Truth Exposed Radio, a transmission promoting resistance to tyranny. Listen in as we explore counter-economics, spontaneous order, and the human strive for liberty with your host, Rick Rody, Marshall Soul, and Cuddy Rowe. And now, Truth Exposed Radio.
And we're back live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. I'm one of your co-hosts, Cuddy Rowe.
Marshall Soul.
Rick Rody.
And we're not trying to make some kind of utopian creating a free society isn't utopian at all. Trying to think that we're going to accomplish some impossible task of convincing all the people to abandon aggression, right? People are always still going to revert to aggression, right?
Pursue to live at the expense of others.
Yeah, we just need to convince enough people, right, that to abandon the belief that aggression is ever even legitimate, right?
Only in defense.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean. Aggression, the initiator.
It's not aggression if
it's in self-defense. Yeah. It's defense.
It's defense. It's not aggression.
Exactly. So, because like assault versus defense, aggress.
Aggress, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just that's what we're really trying to get at the heart of is.
A lot of times you just got to sit down and have these discussions with people, and hopefully they can hold up a civil conversation. So in most cases, I'll keep up with calm conversations because a lot of these topics can escalate with people who are so passionate about ideologies and beliefs. So,
so passionate about stealing.
Oh, they get caught up in the hoopla.
Oh, yeah, that's like our caller Chris was talking about earlier. He's bringing up all the discussions he tries to have people in his area in South Carolina of the communist mentalities and statist mentalities.
Big crybabies, a lot of them. Man.
Yeah. Which by the way, Chris, we do have you.
We do have a ghost in the room
on the line still,
slamming doors.
Just so you know.
Okay, let me let you go.
Okay, well, yeah, right on, bro. Well, be safe out there. Do appreciate you calling in. Definitely hit me up on the private line, bro. Haven't caught up with you in a while. Definitely a good soldier there in the cause. So definitely reporting there from South Carolina, Chris Terry. Doing his thing, spreading truth where he can.
You always gotta love those callers that call in. You got a little history with, and they got some influence, some knowledge to drop down, and some other backgrounds. It's almost like you have another co-host on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's definitely part of the crew. Definitely part of the crew.
Definitely. No questions.
So when it comes to property rights, guys, to really wrap it up, as we pointed out, you have to have some kind of ownership of the land because all products come from the land. All products, even things that the most the most diehard communist will say that you have a right to that property, has to admit to the fact that property came from land.
Yep. Unless they went somewhere else to go get it, but if they went somewhere else, there's somewhere land there.
On Earth.
So the problem with putting either
Are you harvesting air?
Right. So the problem with putting either a centralized union or a centralized government, even if you have a so-called democratic process to it, is that there's going to be a manipulation of votes. There's going to be the rule of the majority. There's going to be a subversion of natural law. There's going to be all these different negative circumstances and consequences of the fact of trying to bring in this collective ownership of land. Besides, not to mention a stunt in complete growth and the
economic growth.
Yeah, exactly. With the evolution of man, essentially, and technology, I mean, it's just like patent laws. In order to, if you have to ask permission from everybody to build a house on a building, that takes a long time to get everyone's approval.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had the house done already.
You could have built it yourself.
You could have built it yourself by hand, by that time.
Yeah.
If you were Amish.
No, I mean, but
true.
Or whatever. But it's just ridiculous.
You ever seen them guys build a barn?
They shouldn't even call it government. They should just call it roadblock.
Well, and that was the hilarious thing about the economic, when they opened up economic ties between Cuba and the United States. Obama admitted himself, hey, by this action, both the American people and the Cuban people are going to be benefiting, and their standard of living is going to increase.
Oh, you mean because we're able to trade?
What,
freely?
get out of the way? The government's getting out of the way and not having a barricade anymore.
You can't trade with me, and you're not. Yeah, we're gonna
trade ban.
We're gonna strangle you of everything we've got. You can't have nothing over here.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much like UN sanctions.
UN sanctions against different things.
They got all the 50s cars still over there, right? All gangsta.
Oh yeah,
looking like Dick Tracy and stuff.
Right.
Like, man.
I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah, but
it don't feel cool though, because I mean, even doctors got to sell plates door to door to get by. It ain't cool.
Wow. Yeah, I believe it.
And then there ain't many people to sell plates to in Cuba.
Yeah. No one has any food. What kind of plates you talking about?
You gotta have a priority list here.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have the food before you got the plates.
Yeah.
Nice plates, you know. Shoot.
But you don't have a right to the sandwich.
No, well,
unless it's your sandwich and you made it.
Unless your sandwich. And by making it again, this is again to distinguish people that think we're diehard individualists, those rugged individualists. You know, that negative term connotation. We don't believe that any individual can make everything for themselves. Or we would even extend that to say that a geographical area cannot make everything for itself. It needs to trade with other geographical areas. There's plants that only grow on Hawaii, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to get access to the Honolulu?
The pineapples,
Honolulu,
baby.
Pineapple Express. Honolulu.
All those ones Rick's talking about. Yeah, so true. You know, but I mean, look, you see our government's going invading places where they've got lithium and, you know, stuff for batteries in Afghanistan.
Operation Iraqi Liberation, oil.
No,
No,
there's one with
more like Liberace. Trying to get fly on people.
Yeah,
man.
And later changed to Operation Iraqi Freedom because the acronym spelled out oil, literally.
You know,
Operation Iraqi Liberation.
They like it. Hey. So give it away.
Rubbing in their face.
Yep. Just like they do ISIS, baby. We know Arabs don't use English acronyms.
No.
And if they're Muslim, they certainly know which direction to pray to.
We also know the English acronym for Mossad. What is it? Israeli Secret Intelligence Services?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is.
Yeah, that's Bill Clinton.
On your definition of what is?
Yeah.
That depends on what your definition of is.
I got that little doll, like the little Bill Clinton doll. You squeeze him and he says that.
No, really?
Yeah.
Is this?
Yeah. He
It all
says
depends on what your definition of
the word is. Yeah, he says that exactly. It's awesome.
Some legalese. Legal sleaze.
I found that outside of a Spurs game. I was like, awesome.
No way.
Right.
Yeah. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. He says those two things.
and that's another funny thing too.
That's all he's known for.
Yeah.
That's another funny aspect. Kind of rewinding to the whole election debacle. Don't get us wrong, ladies and gentlemen. We are high critics of the runner-ups for the Republican Party. Don't get us wrong. We were high critics of Rand Paul. Come on, give us a break.
Yeah,
we're very consistent. We're very principled over here.
If anything,
I didn't trust him.
We should have been like,
but nonetheless, we do recognize the fact that regardless of whatever Republican would have been elected, even if it was Rand or Ron back in the day, granddaddy Ron.
Make me king. You know, it's the
not only that,
no matter who or what.
Not only that, right? Yeah, not only the argument against a federal libertarian government, right? I mean, libertarianism only comes through a breakup of government, not a federalization of it. So not only that argument of it, but I guess the argument that centralization of the government.
Well, that's
it was meant to be a libertarian idea, to where the central government was like more libertarian than the other states themselves.
The anti-federalist.
I'm sorry here. Rewinding it. Even if it would have been a libertarian leaning, a truly liberal leaning Republican, as nominated as the candidate in one of these past elections, even if that would have been the case, they would have still, as Ron Paul was, been labeled a racist, a sexist, a bigot, a misogynist, a backwards.
Isolationist,
anti-science, religionist,
a kook, a crazy.
Yeah, regardless.
I like that guy, but he's crazy.
I mean, even regardless, right? I mean, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen. It's the ideologies, it's the principles that are under attack in today's society. Let's not be blind to that fact that it's not. It's beyond politics. We have been trained to despise our freedom. We have been trained to despise liberty.
Yeah, we're too busy looking at wanting to take away everybody else's freedom without realizing it's going to take ours too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like half the people worried about what the other half of the people is going to try to do to them. And so everyone's just in the back and forth of trying to defend themselves from half of the people getting their way versus a slightly less percentage.
What do they call that? A Mexican standoff or something?
Yeah, everyone's got a gun to their head.
Yeah, right? I mean, typically...
I'm surprised that's how they're just able to get...
Called? I mean, no racial slurs here implied or nothing like that. It's just...
Everyone's got a gun to their head, right?
Yeah, to throw out
That's just what it's called.
The visual image here. That is politics. I mean, everyone's got a gun to their head. And this is why groups like Black Lives Matter and such are threatening retribution, violence, and chaos as a result of Trump winning. And the same would happen, I mean, eventually if it keeps getting worse on the other side of things. If we have Bernie come into the equation and rich businessmen keep getting taxed and workers keep suffering the consequences of centralization, you're eventually going to have a a counter revolution. But unfortunately, the masses don't understand economics. That's the problem. Revolutions for nationalism or revolutions for socialism never work.
They're too caught up in the fields, and the police brutality stirs up the fields.
Yeah.
So everybody gets stirred up in that, and just they want to counteract with more violence.
They forget that they're just wanting their flavor of aggression, their flavor of.
You're just stooping to their level when you act out with violence.
Oh yeah. So what are some old school takes on this common law approach, on this natural law approach to the acquisition of property? Let's start with John Locke. Though the earth and all inferior creatures be common to all men, yet every man has a property in his own person. This nobody has a right to but himself. The labor of his body and the work of his hands, we may say, are properly his. Whatsoever then he removes out of that state of nature that nature hath provided and left it in, he hath mixed it with his labor with it and joined it to something that is his own, and thereby makes it his property. So here we have one of the first articulations in the treaties, two treaties of government, and the second one in particular, where John Locke explains the concept of homesteading, the homesteading principle. No one owns a planet. Collectively, no one owns a planet.
Well,
it's barren.
It's a moon.
Whether you agree with evolution or creation, it was either put there by God or it was created by evolution. No one owns it. Time owns it, or God owns it, but no one owns.
Well, then what if they? Well, then they would say, well, we'll take that to the full extent. Then no one can own a piece of it. No one can, even if they transform it. God owns it.
Well, we gotta get into which God and which scriptures, but yeah.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, Truth Exposed Radio on the Logos Radio Network. I'm Marshall Soul, along with my buddies.
Cut it,
Rick Rody.
And don't forget to check out the LogosRadioNetwork.com and check out the gun giveaway. The first prize, Spike Skull Receiver, and the second prize, Taurus Curve, as well as all the other sponsors we got on that side page there. $25 donation gets you in on the giveaway.
The drawing.
Oh, yeah. Quick draw McGraw. If you win,
it's definitely not a raffle.
What? I don't know.
It's definitely not a raffle.
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know if that's a word in the.
Speaking Leonese again?
Yeah. Are you? Yeah. That's a different language.
Hey, Cuddy, did you do any shopping over the week? Go to Amazon, clear out your cookies, and
I always get a few things here and there, and definitely don't forget to clear my cookies and click on the Amazon link on the right side of the page at logosradionetwork.com to help support the network at all times.
Yeah, you just have to build up whatever it is, whether you're collecting books, movies, swords, weapons, attachments, lasers,
whatever,
grips.
Stuff for doing the show.
All kinds of stuff on Amazon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got it all. You got it all. So definitely check out our lovely list of definitely sponsors on the right side, nongmosolutions.com. Use promo code LOGOS, get a 10% discount. Clear your cookies. Shop through Amazon. You got multiple providers and sellers on Amazon, so clear your cookies for every purchase would help us out. Global Healing Center. Great stuff. GlobalHealingCenter.com. Clear out. Detox. No doubt.
Oh man, clear your cookies and then clear your system.
Yeah.
Right? Clear your guts. They've got the male vitality, the female vitality, the liver cleanse, the oxy powder. Dr. Group, that's Dr. Group with the Global Healing Center. You've seen a lot of people seen him on Alex Jones. Really, really top of the line, like the best, cutting edge nutraceuticals.
Yeah, check out reviews on it and check it out.
Don't forget about that Gold Savings Club, that real gold bullion currency, Carrot Bar currency. You refer others and get paid. It's free to join. Check it out at the Gold Savings Club.
Yeah, have something real tangible versus a fake paper note.
And you do have that option of expanding through, market networking. You got enough people that may be considering investing in gold. Why not make yourself a couple bucks and getting them on board with this Gold Savings Club? So definitely check it out.
And last but not least, the Michael Mears Proven Method. No lawyer, no problem. Check it out at www.howtowinincourt.com. All the methods to have bill collectors stop harassing you and even get paid for them doing so. All that and more. Just you got to check it out for yourself at www.howtowinincourt.com.
It's like the UFC of law, man. You just learn how to kick butt.
Well, you got to do the rope-a-dope, man. You got to do the rope-a-dope.
Yep. For sure. And for sure, the old almighty of law, Rule of Law Radio.
Definitely the flagship.
Definitely check them out. They're on every Monday, Thursday, Fridays, 8 to 10, 8 to midnight on this lovely Logos Radio Network. Definitely check us out. And just great tips when it comes to dealing with the authorities and major exclamation points here and the officials and their whole law books and books.
One essential way, right, to keep from feeding the beast, right? Anything a lot of people need to do is just fight basic BS traffic tickets, and just that could do a lot. That could do a lot.
We're not quite a dictatorship yet.
Yeah, exactly.
They still have to follow a rule book.
Yeah.
If enough people will put up a fight in traffic tickets, they'll cause the courts to have to spend more money to actually process the cases of people fighting these things.
Right.
Which will either cause the price of the tickets to skyrocket to the point where nobody's going to want to pay them, or eventually the courts are going to realize, you know what, we need to stop harassing our citizens.
And isn't that funny? You'll hear that mantra from the right, from the conservative. Like you'll hear it every now and then on talk radio. These frivolous, don't get me wrong, there is frivolous lawsuits. Don't get me wrong. There's a whole lawyer class that survives off the political class, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not justifying that in any way. But they do, it's like this overall message being promoted every now and then where underlying feelings of, hey, if we can just find a way to like speed things through, just shove things through because there's so many people clogging up the system. If we can just find a way to speed process it and get justice out there, as they so put it. Right?
Justice by force.
Just got to use a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And people fail to realize that our justice system is based on, honestly, letting 10 guilty people go at the expense, of not putting a innocent person.
Well, it was originally supposed to be like that.
In jail or to death. And you're right. It's originally put on. We have the process correctly. We just don't have the laws that reflect a natural law approach to things. So we may have the right process, but the overall end of the law is unjustified. So yeah, you could do it all legally and everything.
Yeah, exactly. They could go through the motions, right, and give you a fair trial and all this and that, but the law is still jacked.
Itself.
Well, that and the juries are rigged. The grand juries, they're already handpicked. They've already been corrupted.
They won't get me on one. They won't. I stopped getting those little
last time I went for jury duty, I think Ron Paul was running, and I was passing out literature for that and citizens rule books, and they wouldn't let me be a juror.
You want to get off jury duty? Just go out in the street and hold a sign, man.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Pass out citizens rule books that teach about jury nullification.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The only
and I would sit down and talk to you about
for that.
No victim, no crime.
Somebody got time for that?
Yeah. I mean, as far as the processing time of until court, and you got several months, like half a year,
for a rule book?
For what?
For passing out nullification.
Nullification.
But if it's straight out of a juror's handbook.
I agree with you, man.
Yeah, we don't go by that anymore. We've got.
It's like pointing out the USGS, right? The U.S. Geological Survey map of the world. It's like you pull out their own documents and they call you a kook. It's like, come on now. Anyway, so definitely check out the logosradionetwork.com website. And guys, we do have our drawing going, and this drawing is particularly for the funding of the next year. I mean, this funding ends tomorrow, and we're not even 50% of the way there. I mean, I hate to put it that way. I'm not dissing on anybody here.
Well, look, I'm not mad. There's a lot of opportunity for you out there.
It's just, come on now. I know Logos has got a lot more support. It's got a lot more backbone than this. I know there's more people listening to Logos than that. At least we would hope so. So if you haven't donated it, even if you have, whatever, reconsider. Would love to continue to fund the constant transmissions of the endless broadcasts that we have on here. Definitely check out the shows, the schedules, and
that money doesn't go to pay us; it goes to maintain the operation here.
Definitely,
because there is cost of property, ladies and gentlemen. There is cost of property. And then going back to the principle of things.
There's taxes for such property, and then you got to.
Yeah.
We forget there's something called the state.
There's a lease you got to also feed
for the airwaves and everything.
Yeah, you got to feed the lease.
State is going to state that you owe them money.
Not only do you have to feed other people that provided you rightful services, like i.e. the tower and the computer equipment it takes to run all this,
and there's electric bill.
All these legitimate services.
But the government
and products.
wants their cut for doing nothing.
For doing nothing.
They own the airwaves.
Yeah, I guess so.
You have to have a license now for a CB radio, a little walkie-talkie. You got to have a license for the drone.
The drone, yeah.
You got to have. They own
more
the
than
air.
like 5 ounces or something like that.
They own the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, even on the walkie-talkies, you're subject to FCC.
It's more than like 15 feet or something
like that. As soon as we got personal spaceships, they're going to say they own space, and it's going to be tax up there. Like,
if we can get past the Van Allen belt, right?
But underneath it.
Yeah. High altitude, low altitude orbit.
What do you call it? Right above the atmosphere, the hemisphere, whatever they call it. Stratosphere. Yeah, too many spheres. Yeah, public schooling.
As long as you ain't bringing out the fields.
Yeah. Not
The fears is all right.
Fears over feels.
Yeah. It's okay to be scared every now and then, so long as you just, pucker up and just move along.
Pucker up.
Yeah. Step by step.
Don't kiss the status boot now.
You better not.
No.
So we read some Locke on the take on the acquisition of raw materials, raw land. And we started reading some Rothbard last week, chapter 2 of Man, Economy, and State, Direct Exchange, section 12, the acquisition of raw land. Definitely check that out. Good stuff. His little quote here: most of us think of homesteading unused resources in the old-fashioned sense of clearing a piece of unknown land and farming the soil. Suppose, for example, that an airport is established with a great deal of empty land around it. The airport excludes noise level of, say, X decibels. We are coming on a break, so this is good now.
Having trouble breathing? You might want to reach for a bitter-tasting substance like grapefruit peel and take a big whiff. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and in a moment I'll tell you how bitter foods could be traditional inhalers for opening blocked air passages.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Bitter foods may soon give pharmaceutical inhalers a run for their money. Researchers have found that inhaling bitter substances opens bronchial airways better than any known asthma medication on the market. Apparently, the bitter taste receptors we have on our tongues are also present in our lungs. If something tastes bitter in your mouth, the receptors in your lungs will pick up the bitter scent molecules too. The lungs react by opening up the airways. Scientists are experimenting with aerosols made of bitter substances like quinine, the ingredient that gives tonic water its bite. They believe this could help bring relief to millions of people suffering with bronchitis, emphysema, and asthma. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Chemtrails. You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at LogosRadioNetwork.com.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, breaking down principle
rights, property
of property again.
Nobody has the authority.
The principles of property yet again, for sure. No one has the authority to aggress on your property.
Yeah, even if they are the majority.
Even if it is a majority, right?
Or they have in the same bloodline of the royals and they've got seniority.
I mean, yeah. They call those mob thieves, right? I mean, what
mob bosses.
What is it called when a whole mob of people go in and loot a store? Looting, right?
Looting, yeah.
Yeah, just because a whole group of people does it doesn't justify the actions of each individual.
Pillaging.
It's just others are doing it and the masking of the others that are doing it.
There you go. Hopefully you get lost in the numbers is what they're hoping.
That's why, yeah.
Which is really a pathetic ideology. Think about it. You can't take responsibility for your actions, so you got to throw your actions on your peers.
Yeah, you got to hide yourself.
Yeah,
everybody else is running here taking these
you weren't you. You were just a product of.
So the thief,
you're just a product of your friends around you.
Thief that
how pathetic. Give me a break.
The thief that covers his face is no better or no different than the voter who doesn't want you to see who he's voting for.
Secret ballot for a reason, right?
Yeah, because you know what? Then people might say, "Hey, you're the reason everything's all messed up."
You voted for Bush.
Yeah, you voted for this garbage.
You voted for Obama.
In general.
Yeah, period. Yeah,
you voted, period.
Yeah, for the lesser of two
Why
evils.
are you voting against my rights?
True, but
what's that totalitarian tiptoe? No matter who we vote for.
You could technically vote for nobody.
Yeah. Well, I think most of the people, the majority of the United States does vote for nobody.
Yeah,
I think the
stats are there.
Nobody doesn't get elected, though.
Yeah.
Somebody.
I believe
exactly.
Yeah, they should put a nobody on the ballot. That way, if nobody gets in, then there's no president.
Then there's
Congress.
nobody to blame for the problem.
And people were confused with these nuts. They thought he was a legitimate candidate. They thought it was an actual politician, so that's why they didn't. He didn't get as many votes as he did. He should have.
He got a lot.
But if it would have just been nobody, even then people may confuse that with the last name. They may be like, well, it may be John Nobody. I don't know.
Did I'm not going to repeat the name, but did they get more votes than the boot on the head guy?
Oh yeah,
Vermin Supreme.
Yeah.
The pony plan is legit, bro. If we all have, the pony identification program and then, the shining teeth, shining smiles from sea to sea,
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
That's a plus.
I remember running into that guy in the 2012 RNC in Florida. He was marching with Occupy down there.
Oh no!
It was funny because like when we were down there,
Occupy backed him straight up.
We all did that.
I was down there with Occupy, then I was inside and in the RNC.
Occupied and lost their.
Occupy thought he was a legitimate candidate.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They thought he was legit. They're like,
They're like ponies. Well, you can milk a pony.
It's just questionable what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, it's just questionable what you're getting out of it.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. You gotta load it.
Yeah, an adult subscription or.
Don't they got that in Mexico somewhere? Like, time out. Man.
So Rothbard brought down here.
Yeah, great follow up there.
Bringing in, going a little bit too far, but bringing in the idea of first homesteading, the first homesteading.
I'm the first one there. So the airport was first.
Yeah, the airport was there. He's bringing in the idea of X decibels being brought in because of the jets, the airliners obviously flying over the airport, flying over the area around the airport coming in. And if a neighborhood would, I guess I'll keep reading here what his quote is. Sometime later, because he says it way more articulate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sometime later, the homeowners. So I'm sorry, a housing development then. After the airport is built and it produces X decibels as sound waves traveling from the empty land, then a housing development buys up the near land, their airport. Sometime later, the homeowners sue the airport for excessive noise interfering with the use and quiet enjoyment of the houses. Excessive noise can be considered a form of aggression, but same as pollution, right? I mean, there's noise pollution, there's physical pollution, biological pollution, air pollution, water pollution, right?
Smell pollution.
Yeah.
There's this one place that smells like tortillas, but I like the smell of tortillas.
Oh yeah. And in big cities, I mean, that's not really respected. You may be walking around, next to the Trump Tower, which is made with crystals and glass, but it may smell like you're in the sewer of, some sewer of Egypt or something like that.
Well, my grandfather lives right by the airport here in San Antonio, and he always has to wash down his house on the side because you see the smog. The pollution builds up, but
the city government
who's there first though?
The city government actually paid people to help them get better windows put on to kind of keep the sound out.
Yeah.
We're getting a rebate or something like that.
Well, it depends on, but like we're saying, it really
this is first use. This is for the first use principle. So people start suing the airport because of the noise levels. But unfortunately, the
airport was there first. They knew what they were moving next to.
Unfortunately for the investors of the home duplex of the homeowners association or whoever built the homes or apartments there, they picked an area next to, and that would typically bring in lower prices for rent.
Yes.
Less desirable,
less demand.
Still get great quality, say, homes, but it's over by an airport.
So every hour you hear a plane come over your head, or every 30 minutes on high traffic.
It is like that. Those usually right there by it.
Yeah. They end up being like commercial zones and a lot of like businesses.
Right. They ended up.
And it's literally like 30 or 15 minutes. Every 30 or 15 minutes you hear
the zoning laws. They ended up bringing the zoning laws. Yeah. And this is really jumping ahead here from homesteading to zoning laws and to first come, first serve. But we're kind of laying down so many principles here that there's so many pieces to the puzzle.
Same as a train,
we have a puzzle to form here, though. I mean, you talk to most governmental and socialist ideologues, and they just don't have anything to offer other than very heated emotional rhetoric and emotions. That's it. Maybe a couple tears here and there, and like just to the point where they may get so loud they may scream and their voice cracks a little bit. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It happens to everybody, I guess.
Yeah, but you get up there and cry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a Hungarian political philosopher by the name of Anthony de Hasse argued that homesteaders having the claim to prior to anything other must be prima facie considered the owner of the resource in accordance with the principle of land ownership. So he says the following: if taking first possession of the thing is a feasible act of this, then it is admissible. If it is not a tort, in this case, not a trespass on someone else's property and violates no right, but this is the case by definition, i.e. by the thing being identified as unowned. Taking exclusive possession of it is, in terms of our classification, a possession of acts, a liberty, and as such, only a contrary right can obstruct or oppose it. Only a contrary right, only the opposite right, the right to saying, hey, I have a right to that piece of land.
Hey, that's mine.
Even though you didn't do anything to actually own it. So a governmental claim, the BLM's claim to land, even though the state of Nevada's claim to land or the state of Oregon's claim to land, is illegitimate.
And really, if you want to, take it to its extreme, it's not even the BLM and these others. They're all working for, the United Nations Agenda 21. So
that's true.
And that's
centralization begets centralization.
And I'm surprised I don't see the socialist commies or whatever saying Agenda 21, because that's all about taking away private ownership of land. and giving it to the state.
Oh, communists wouldn't be against that.
I know. I'm surprised I don't see them out there cheering and saying it.
Cheering it
and pushing.
Oh, because it's one of those behind the scenes agendas.
Hush, we got to call it other things.
You got to act like things are so bad, right? You know, we've been in power for the last 20, 30 years, but things are really bad over here, you know? Hey, socialists have been in power for the last, you know, since the federal I mean, really? How long have socialists been in power in America? For a long, long time.
I'm just surprised I haven't seen, you know, but these people don't want to be out open.
Things just keep getting worse. Yeah, their agendas.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, you like this, don't you? How come you aren't pushing it? This is what you're calling for. Why don't you get behind it? I don't see you down the street marching saying, hey, Agenda 21, it's a good thing. You know, whatever slogan they're going to make up to try to justify it.
The green movement.
So this Anthony Jesse, he really points out that only, you know, contrary rights can oppose it. The opponent of this simple thesis is trying to have it both ways. He is both asserting that the thing has no legitimate first owner from whom a second or ninth owner could have legitimately obtained by it if agreed transfer, and there is nevertheless somebody who has been still is entitled to the use of the thing and thereafter can validly object to being excluded from it. So that's really the point we're bringing up is if you agree to even personal property, to the idea that you're allowed to own clothes, some food, a bike, a home, something, a bed. Where does that come from, ladies and gentlemen? Where does that come from?
It doesn't come out of, it doesn't fall out of the producing products black hole, and stuff doesn't just fall from the sky.
Picked off trees, right? They picked off trees.
You don't pick beds and doors.
Easy.
We're back live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network, March 16, 2016. This is the end of the hour, baby.
Already? Final call.
Let's call for truth alcohol.
That truth serum, right?
Yeah, we at the Truth Bar. We're serving you up well.
You got to take it voluntarily, though.
Yeah, definitely. We're not forcing it. You could change the channel at any time.
But don't do that.
Yeah, don't do
that. I mean, you could.
Yeah, sure.
But you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
I don't know. You end up coming back here anyway. After you do the loop-de-loop. Ain't find nobody else to give you the scoopy scoop.
So just to put a little quote in the air, since at the beginning of the show we were talking about, the political atmosphere. The truth is that one who seeks to achieve freedom by petitioning, right, to those in power are basically already saying or proving that they're a slave and that they're asking for a little bit longer leash from the leashes.
Oh, good. I got to pay my permission to be able to sell tacos at the corner of the street. Good.
How about it's people's voluntary choice if they want to buy tacos from someone who doesn't have the FDA or the government license? I take these chances all the time.
But they aren't paying the city tax or the state tax. The sales tax. They aren't being forced to collect taxes for the local government.
Yeah, to then enforce other arbitrary mumbo jumbo hula hoops on fire, but really look like Christmas wreaths, or they paint them as Christmas wreaths. But if you touch them, you get burned. Better jump perfectly like a dolphin at SeaWorld. Come on, get your flipper, huh?
Did you just attempt?
Because if you don't,
yeah,
if you don't dot all your I's on a federal form,
you heard me do that flipper.
Yeah, if you don't do every trick out of the book precisely how it should be done, you're liable. You're held liable.
And we'll get on to those. We'll
get
into law later.
What was that saying that when you lie to your government, it's a felony. Whenever government lies to you, it's politics.
Politics, right?
Yeah.
It's just campaign promises. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
It's politics. No big deal.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Mm-hmm.
And people think that such frivolous things like sex, age, and race could change the fact of a political class.
Nah. Nope.
Come on now.
It's the fruits of the person.
Come on now.
It's like mistaking a train for a car. You can't steer the train, bro. It's only going down one track. The track only leads to one place. The car, the individual, the freedom is to turn down any street you want.
And this is the idea of
government
fascism. This is the idea of collectivism, right? Out of many, we have one. Oh, what is it?
We wouldn't be able to go to the moon if we didn't steal all the money from everybody. We would have never achieved that. We able to fake the pictures and everything.
But never
and pay.
Never able to fake the moon landing. What is it? Annuit coeptis.
Novus Ordo Seclorum?
Yeah. Annuit coeptis. Out of many, one.
Collectivism.
One coeptis. One coeptis out of co-op out of many, one.
On a Rothschild's printed beautiful with the red shield on it and everywhere, and the Masons encoded and everything.
Right. I mean, that is collectivism 101, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, our note of debt, right?
Our debt notes.
101. And who is talking, out of all the candidates, who's talking about the Federal Reserve?
Zero.
I mean, sure, they may be saying they're going to vote for auditing of the Federal Reserve, this and that, but it's such an underground issue. Has not been taken to the mainstream
it's not on the megaphone.
in any way that it should be. In any slight degree.
It should be the platform.
It should be the platform like Ron, old Granddaddy Ron did.
Yes, sir.
Ron Paul.
We basically, we got something good for once, when we had Ron Paul. We had caviar, baby. And you know what? we can't go back to eating Doritos chips, bro. We're not going backwards. We're just like, all right, I done had a good taste. I'm not going backwards. I'm here to stay. You better, produce something better.
We're what you call true progressivists. We try to actually go forward, instead of regressing back to like the rulership of kings and the rulership of personalities.
That's me turning into a monkey, man, or something. We don't do that.
And that's if you believe in evolution.
Yeah,
Shit.
That's even if you believe in it.
Shoot,
but it's coming. De-evolution is becoming true.
Doesn't de-evolution prove that evolution is false?
Yeah.
Well, all things evolve, but in the long run, you can't really say whether or not they have been able to.
No, I mean, if things get worse, if things are breaking down and getting worse constantly, doesn't that disprove evolution?
Yeah,
evolution would say that everything's getting better.
That's the environment's
evolving,
evolution.
right? Yeah.
That's another thing, another object's evolution. If one
it depends on what your definition of the word is.
Yeah, that's it.
Evo. Yeah. Evolve. It's would they like to
Well, it's evolving.
The D is silent, Rick.
Oh yeah.
Evolve.
Yeah, the D is silent. We call it evolution, but the D is silent.
Oh yeah, for sure. The theory of devolution is the unlearned. Say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who?
The neophytes.
Yeah.
Something like that. So this Anthony de Haaside, pretty neat writer, basically pointing out that even if you have a small little ownership of a little bit of property, he's still saying that, hey, guess what? You rewind it, and it comes from natural land.
You don't say.
And it all goes down to the first possessor of it, as he says. But entitlement to use the thing is an at least partial annexation. Ownership claims needing an owner or the permission of an owner before it can be made. Ownership cannot both exist and yet not exist. If, on the other hand, the objectors have been using the thing without being entitled to it because no third party has excluded them by taking first possession, and because they are unable or unwilling or uninterested to perform the act of taking first possession themselves, what did the act may consist of? Their enjoyment of the thing was precarious, not vested. Its appropriation by a third party may have deprived them of an uncovenanted advantage, but it did not violate their rights. Yeah, I mean, if it's just land sitting there, if it's like we said earlier, if it's just land sitting there and you happen to put a fence around it and someone builds a hut and a cabin right there, I mean.
But on the other hand, though, when it's been passed down, someone's earned it, transformed it, in, like inheritance tax and stuff like that. Like, oh, the government's going to step in and take what you're trying to give that you've earned and worked for.
Oh, yeah, no, you have a right to pass on.
It's also your property.
You have a right to pass on your property, legitimate property, for sure. No one's denying that.
Oh, they want a piece.
But you got to pay a tax.
No one's denying that. But this guy Anthony just ended this saying by saying that if you acquiesce just a plot of land, you have hurt no one's property.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, true.
Period. And this is interesting.
Might have hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah, you might have hurt someone's feelings, right? I mean, you're causing pollution out there. Building the hut in the woods and whatnot.
You chop down a tree.
You got the best spot on the river.
Oh my gosh.
You got there before me.
Yeah. You
staked the claim.
No, and what's hilarious about this is a couple weeks ago, I know I mentioned this last week, I went to Mexico and driving over into like their wilderness area, like one of their cities outside of Mexico City. I forget how, it was like 2 hours away, but you had to drive through the wilderness. I mean, there was an eventual cutoff point to the city itself.
You're like, we're going out into the...
And then it became the wilderness and it was like roads on mountains and whatnot. Yeah, the jungle. But driving into the jungle for the first couple, 15, 20 kilometers, you would see huts and tents all over the mountainside. All over the mountainside. People are just homesteading like nonstop. They can't afford to
and
live
they're
in
not
the
killing
city.
each other over, you got this spot, and they're working it out and everything. It's all voluntary.
Right. So please tell me, explain this to us, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we stand. Who is the government? Who is any group of individuals to come in and tear down this little piece of land that people have built a home for themselves.
Even if it's a grass hut, you can't just go and say, we're going to build an apartment place right here. We're going to get lots of money for the state. Texas. Hey, man, it's just straw. They could go build straw somewhere else.
Didn't Trump use the...
yes, he did.
The eminent domain.
Make a parking lot up in New York.
No. He built a pristine golf course, the world's most pristine golf course in the world, Craig, of the world. Of the world.
It's got 19 holes or what?
I don't remember. Oh. Yeah, well, all of them do, probably.
Well, it's got one more hole.
Yeah, the 19th's over there at the pub, you know. Yeah. But yeah, he took a farmer's land and said, and you know, it's the same thing as this, all these little codes they make. Oh, you've got hay, you know, the Agenda 21 garbage. Right. Oh, you've got a tractor that doesn't...
Unsecured well over here.
The hay's blowing around. Yeah. You got a soda pop can over there. We can make a golf course now.
We got satellite pictures of nails just laying over here.
Yeah. Something. Whatever they deem is, you know,
detrimental.
They're arbitrary. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. That's what they do, man. That's what they do. It's coming in. I know, Cud, you were telling me about some organization you found out about recently.
Yeah, it was called the...
It wasn't like a homeowners association, but it was regulatory code when it comes to building codes. And
it's called the...
ICC, or the International...
Code Council. International Code Council, right? And also the International kind of like... I don't know, I've got some notes on it. But definitely it's a... It's just a part of Agenda 21. It's a part of all the Code Council, you know, part of the government.
It's a regulatory body that pretty much governs like every aspect of life, where it's trying to like, you have your national codes for like trades and whatnot, and you have your state codes and whatnot. It's just pretty much something that's leeching in over it and coming in and making its own uniform code, pretty much just like the Uniform Commercial Code was.
You know, and that's such the playbook of the state. Such a playbook of the state. They build it good cop, bad cop to such a way to where, you know, their arbitrary regulations, their force is justified and it's okay. And you know, we think we have a right to property rights, but we actually don't. You having to pay for services and things that you don't want to pay for. So it's just an endless cycle of oppression, of violence, of slavery, and we're just trying to bring some light into it, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully you gain a little bit of it. Hopefully, more importantly, you go search some of it. But definitely stay tuned. We're going to be back next week, Wednesday, 6 to 8.
Got that crypto show coming up next.
Stay tuned.